let's go ahead and move on to the next thing, which is the box office segment. And I usually do this at the end of the podcast, but because it has some significance in what I want to talk about in this podcast, I'm going to talk about it close to the beginning of it. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Since I didn't do a podcast last week, let's just go ahead and cover the movies that came at the top of the box office this past weekend. Number one was The Upside, which came in over the weekend with 19.5 million. Aquaman over the weekend did 17.2 million, and A Dog's Way Home debuted at 11.3 million at number 3. Number 4 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with 9 million, and topping off the top 5, rounding off the top 5 was Escape Room with over the weekend doing 8.9 million. Another movie that debuted this weekend, which didn't do that good, came in at number 12, was Replicas with 2.5 million. What stands out to me in this box office? Two things. One of the minor things that stand out to me is The Upside. I didn't think that was going to take over the box office. I didn't do predictions last week because there wasn't a podcast, but I did think about it and everything else, and I didn't really think that The Upside was going to be at number 1. I thought that Aquaman was going to still be at number 1, and that maybe The Upside was going to come in, just a little bit under it, but it was the total opposite. Aquaman came in a little bit under The Upside, but at the same time, we're going to get into Aquaman a little bit. We're going to get into it a little bit. The Upside, after seeing it, it deserves it. It deserves it. And that's one of the movie reviews I'm going to do, which I'm going to explain why it deserves it. But that was one of the minor things. I didn't think that The Upside was going to take the number 1 spot, but after seeing the movie, it deserves it. It deserves the number 1 spot. Didn't expect it. It was unexpected, but it deserves the number 1 spot. It's not going to hold on to it for too long. It's a what they call it up in wrestling. It's a transitional champion, just a champion there to win a championship from one person, just so that the next person that's in line can beat him real quick. So the transitional champion is not gonna hold the championship for that long. They might hold it for a month before losing it to the new person that's getting the push. And that's basically what this is. The Upside only has one, basically kind of a week or whatever to take over the box office before Glass comes in and kicks his ass. But that's not saying too much, because The Upside is a phenomenal movie, but I'm going to get into that a little bit later. The other thing that stands out, which is worth talking about, is Aquaman. Aquaman, I've said it to my brother, I've said it to anybody that listen. I felt with the buzz leading toward Aquaman, and this is before I even saw it, that if it doesn't touch $1 billion, that it was going to be one of the highest grossing movies in the BVS universe that they got going on now. And I was right. This movie went in with a crazy amount of buzz, and one of the things that I said to my brother when we had a conversation, I think one of the main things that was playing a major part in why it was so successful was that not only was it a good movie, not only was it a really good movie, it wasn't great, it wasn't a masterpiece, it has its flaws. You can watch the movie and probably point out a whole bunch of crazy flaws that's not nitpicks, but it was in a position to where it can sink or swim. No, last year, pun intended, where it can sink or swim, pun intended, where it's like the movies before, the only good movie that came out of the BVS universe that fans and critics and everybody agreed that was good was Wonder Woman. Everything else was divisive, whether it was mostly hated and kind of liked, or it was mostly liked but kind of hated, just whatever. A lot of the other movies were split, and basically this was in a good position to where if it succeeded, if it was just a good movie, which it was, I know a lot of people were probably like, it was a phenomenal movie, outstanding, that it will make numbers, because a lot of us, myself included, and even say, the fanboys of DC, that, not the ones that just die hard like everything DC put out, but ones that recognizes how bad, or not good the other movies were, and they're clamoring toward, maybe having a good DC film. And seeing this one, it was like, okay, yeah, after all this stuff, all this rotten flesh that we've been getting, I can't really come up with the best way to, put it out there. But, after all this like rotten food and, not good food that we've been getting, we finally get a nice meal, or just say after eating McDonald's for a straight week, you get tired of it and it just doesn't taste as good. It's like, it's acceptable. Sometimes, the burgers is kind of like, not satisfying. But now we get to go to Red Lobster this week. Or just not even Red Lobster. We get to go to Olive Garden this week. Yes. And that's basically how it was, And it rightfully so. It basically did its job. It was supposed to just start it off. And there's Shazam and the rest of what they're doing with these movies. And I'm not counting Joker because it's not connected to the same thing. But if the other movies like Shazam, Wonder Woman, if they do Birds of Prey, if those movies are as good as this one or better or as fun, then they're on the right track. It seemed like they got their head on straight, and I'm gonna still call it the wall of the wall of DC until everything gets straightened out. But basically, yeah, I'm looking forward to Shazam. I love the trailer at Comic-Con and everything that they've put out since from it, and I simply can't wait. And it deserves the $1 billion box office. It deserves it. This was a fun ass movie. I mean, it was just amazing. But one of the things I came out of this, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, it's a shame that it took DC 6 movies just to touch the $1 billion club. And I was just thinking, like, that's a shame. And then I had thought about it. What did Marvel do when they first came out? How long did it take them to get to the $1 billion club? And I thought about it. It took exactly 6 movies for it to get to the $1 billion club. Because if you look at it, Iron Man, when it came out, like right now, I'm looking, this is all the domestic box office to today. The box office. Oh, you know what? No, it's not domestic. This is worldwide. Worldwide box office for all of the first phase 1 films of Marvel. Iron Man, 585.2 million. The Incredible Hulk, 263.4 million. Iron Man 2, 623.9 million. Thor, 449.3 million. Captain America, the First Avenger, 370.6 million. And then we have Marvel's Avengers, $1.5 billion. Took exactly 6 movies just for it to touch $1 billion. And DC basically did the same thing. But at the same time, DC was at an advantage that Marvel has. DC came out a little bit later in the game after, Marvel had basically established it. Because the way I look at it is like, everybody was thinking Iron Man wasn't going to be nothing, surprised by it. I think people started to take notice after Captain America and Thor came out. And then when it was like, couldn't be denied was when Avengers came out and did the numbers they're supposed to do. After that, all eyes on the Marvel universe, on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All eyes is on there. When it comes down to it, yeah, like DC was at a better advantage if they would have executed the movies that they needed to execute right. They could have made way more money. BVS should be in the top 5 $2 billion club, or not $1 billion club, top 5. It should have been one of the movies that should have been in the, even over Justice League. BVS, because that was the first time we saw Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman all in the same movie. That should have been in the $2 billion club. It should have been. And it wasn't. It didn't even touch $1 billion. That movie with Batman and Superman on screen for the first time, plus Wonder Woman, didn't even touch $1 billion. That's crazy. And then Justice League didn't touch $1 billion. It's truly just it's crazy just to look at it like that. It had a bigger advantage, but both universes took 6 movies in order for it to touch $1 billion, which ain't bad. It's a start with DC. I'm not knocking it. It's a start. And just looking at the domestic box office right now, I mean, Aquaman is still going to grow. It's not one of the highest domestic grossing ones, at least not yet, with the DC BVS universe. But it is in the conversation, and it will climb up the ranks. But domestically, you got BVS with 330 million, Wonder Woman with 412 million, Suicide Squad with 325 million, Man of Steel 291, Justice League with 229 million. And you got, Aquaman now coming in with 287 million with the worldwide box office. So, I mean, it doesn't put it up there. It's still way behind a few other movies or whatnot. It's at number 5 as far as the highest grossing domestic ones. It's going to climb. Wonder Woman at the top, BVS right under it, Suicide Squad right under that, Man of Steel under that, and then Aquaman is right before Justice League. So, man, it's going to do numbers. I don't know if it's going to, as far as domestic, touch Wonder Woman. But it does have a good chance of beating Suicide Squad in the domestic box office. But we'll see. But I'm actually happy that it did over $1 billion. I knew that it was going to do it with the, pre-sales and everything else, the hype, the buzz around it, then seeing the movie and seeing how good it was and hearing people seeing it, multiple times. I knew that it was going to do it. Hell, I would go see it again. It's that good of a movie. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. What movies are coming out this week? We have 2 movies that are coming out this week. One is going to be later on today, which I'm going to go see, which is Dragon Ball Super Broly, which I know a lot of people are really excited to go see. Even at the theater where I'm at the AMC, it's sold out. Like, literally, they had 3 showings at the theater that I was at. I mean, there's other showings at other theaters that's a good distance away, but they're a little bit further. But the AMC that I'm going to, it had 3 screenings for it. It was a 7, 8, 9. When I looked at it the other day before I even bought my ticket, I saw like 7 and 9 were sold out. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm like, man, let me go ahead and get my ticket. So I did the 8 o'clock one. So I'm like, okay, cool, I got that. And then I looked at it like yesterday, and they added a 7:30 time. I guess because of the high demand, that one was sold out. I didn't even see that was even open, and that was just crazy just to see. But there are other theaters around that have plenty of seats for, several times and even multiple days. So this AMC theater is the only theater that's playing it around me just for that, just for specifically today. But, I mean, yeah. But in any case, the other movie that's coming out is Glass, a movie that I am really looking forward to. Saw Unbreakable years ago. I loved it. Saw Split a couple years ago. I loved it. And one of the things that I did mention, I believe it was up in the Split review or my Split spoiler review, which I'm gonna attach it to this video, whatever, at the end of it. But basically, as I was watching the movie, I was thinking like, man, it would be so crazy if this was connected to, Bruce, Unbreakable. But I'm thinking like, nah, M. Night, he wouldn't do that. Not saying that he wouldn't do it, but I'm like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. And I just brushed it out of my mind. And this is like kind of like toward, I want to say it was kind of toward the end once you saw the Beast and saw what he can do when he finally came out. And I was like, okay, whatever. Then watching it, and when it came to the end, you saw Bruce Willis. It's like, what the hell? Like, are you serious? Like, I knew it. So it was crazy to know that my assumptions, like, I was on the same wavelength as M. Night Shyamalan. I know a lot of people might say like, oh, well then you need to get your brain checked. But still, at the same sense, that was like one of the things that was really noticeable during my experience of Split. But in any case, this is another movie I'm looking forward to. Actually, both of them I'm going to go see. Really looking forward to both of these films. Glass look like it's gonna be awesome. I've been hearing good reviews, and then some of them kind of saying like basically they're good, but it's like, it's not a great film. Right now, I need to look up the Rotten Tomatoes like meter or whatever, but it's like this is a movie that regardless on how it comes out, I was just hoping that this movie would be really good because it really looks good. Right now, it's sitting at a 41%, which is not that good. I don't know how much it will go up after it opens worldwide. Opens officially. I don't think it's gonna go up too much. I don't even know if it's gonna touch 60%. If it does, that'd be cool. But I just hope that I get something out of it. But with that in mind, what movies will top the top box office this over the weekend? I believe everything will stay the same. It's just everything will get pushed down. Glass will take the #1 spot. I don't know if Dragon Ball Super Broly will enter into the top 5, but I'm gonna take a chance and say that it won't. So basically, everything is gonna stay the same. Glass is gonna take the #1 spot, of course, because I know a lot of people are trying to see this movie or just clamoring to see this movie, and I know that I am one of them. So so it'll be Glass at #1. The Upside to #2, Aquaman #3, A Dog's Way Home at #4, and Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse at #5.